Week 3 gives us a heavyweight matchup. Texas A&M at Notre Dame under the bright lights of South Bend. One team looking for revenge, the other trying to save its playoff hopes. This could define the season for both. It's time to break the huddle. Rooster, right out of the gate, I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting question. If Notre Dame loses this game, are their playoff hopes basically out the window? Maybe USC?
Left? Oh, give me a break. Their hardest game left is at Arkansas. And they would have lost to two teams who will both, I am willing to bet, lose at least 2 games this year. I guarantee you Texas A&M loses 3 games this year. And if Notre Dame loses this game, their season's over. It's just as simple as that. They're not in a conference, and they don't have a conference championship to make up the lost ground they have. So I think if this game's over, it's just simple as, yes, their playoff hopes are done.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Rooster. I mean, this is a must-win for Notre Dame, especially against a top 25 team in number 16, Texas A&M. Obviously, Notre Dame ranked 18th. But they did not look great in that loss versus Miami. Contrary to belief, they were very one-dimensional, and I still think Notre Dame is one-dimensional. They don't have weapons on the outside. Their offense runs around Jeremiah Love at the running back position, and it's going to be huge for him to go against that Texas A&M front, and they are no slouches up front, Rooster. We know that they have built a very, very good defensive front there at A&M under head coach Mike Elko, who is thriving on the defensive side of the ball. So with that being said, obviously the spread right now favors Notre Dame minus 6.5 as it stands, over under 50. Notre Dame 0-1 coming off of a bye week after a shaky Miami loss, as we said. A&M on the other side starting out 2-0. Haven't really played anyone. UTSA and Utah State. They didn't have much to prove, didn't throw much out there, but nonetheless, they won. They moved on to the next week. Could this be the difference between a 10-2 and 9-3 season for both of these teams? We shall see. Do you trust Notre Dame to bounce back, Rooster, or do you think A&M has something to prove that they're for real this year?
Well, Nate, I want to ask you a question really quick, and it's just a simple response. Did you notice anything wrong about your statement of Notre Dame's offense runs through Jeremiah Love? Do you notice anything that is bad about that?
And there's a lot wrong with that. They have no receiving core, and they're one-dimensional.
Well, I would say what's wrong with that is that you claim that their offense runs through Jeremiah Love, yet they gave the ball to him twice in the entire first half against Miami. I mean, what are they doing? Jeremiah Love is the consensus number 1 running back in the country coming into this season. And you give him the ball 2 times in the entire first half. Like, what is Notre Dame doing?
Well, the only thing that I can think of is trying to pull a Houdini and limit his reps against Miami, but you don't have the capability of doing that against a top-tier matchup in week 1. Now we stand going into week 3, and they have to get him involved. Like you said, yes, I agree with you. They did nothing to get him involved with those 2 snaps in the first half, but they don't have a choice now. They've got to air it out, and it's at home. The boosters are going to be questioning the roster too. Like I said before, they don't have a receiving core. I've seen this team play in person versus Penn State last year in the Orange Bowl. I was boots on the ground there. They looked anemic. Yes, their run game looked great, but they lost a lot of guys up front too on that offensive line. So this is going to be a questionable game for them. But I would agree. Like, I think A&M's got to prove in this one that they're the real deal. And to your point, like I said, Notre Dame's keys, 4 keys, just real quick. Jeremiah Love needs 20-plus touches. He was 2 underused versus Miami, like you said, right? CJ Carr, promising, but questionable. He needs more time to develop, and you don't really have time. Like, this is the time. 2 top 25 opponents within 3 weeks. I mean, you've got to prove yourself, and you can say what you want. Oh, give them time. Listen, it's do or or you're done. Like it's time. Huh?
Well, building off what you're saying, people give the SEC a lot of crap for scheduling these cupcake games in week 1. This is exactly why you schedule the cupcake games in week 1 and week 2. Because you don't know what your offense is going to look like behind a first-year quarterback. People give Georgia all kinds of crap because they're playing Marshall and Austin Peay in the first 2 weeks of the season. Newsflash: Georgia has, I guess, 8 more games against ranked opponents in their last 10 games? Either 7 or 8 games? I mean, this is why you play the cupcake games at the start of the year, because you get your running back's legs under you, you get your offensive line schemed together, you get your quarterback developing. Notre Dame could have greatly capitalized off of playing 2 nobody schools in the first 2 weeks of the season to let CJ Carr develop. This is exactly what Texas A&M did this season right here. Last year, Texas A&M, well, I don't believe Marcel Reed started the game. They had Connor Wegman who started the game, I believe, and he got injured. Marcel Reed was thrown into the fire as a redshirt freshman who hadn't taken any snaps. The reason why you have these tune-up games is to give players who haven't played yet opportunities to get adapted and give your running backs and your receivers time to get adjusted to the play. If you're Notre Dame, you don't schedule your 2 hardest games of the season in the first 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Rooster. A lot of these teams are scheduling quote-unquote cupcake games. But when you look at a game like LSU versus Clemson with 2 seasoned veteran quarterbacks, you expect the best play, especially coming in with the same coordinators. Obviously, Nussmeier took the edge in that game, and LSU ultimately came out on top. When I look at this game with a top 25 matchup, I would say Marcel Reed obviously has a little bit more experience than CJ Carr, obviously, but it doesn't matter. You can throw the excuse out the window. You got to show up for this game. And when I look at this game, and I look at the other side of the ball with A&M, Marcel Reed already has 500 plus yards passing, 7 touchdown passes, and over 100 plus rushing yards. But he also leads the team in carries despite their running back depth with Owens and Moss back there. They've got to get this dynamic duo going in the run game. Then I look at their defense. It gave up 20-plus points in both early games against UTSA and Utah State. Now you're going up against a Notre Dame offense who can make you pay if you make mistakes. I see them coming into this game, stacking the box, saying to CJ Carr, hey, we're going to make you throw it, right? If you're Mike Elko, you're looking at your team, you're saying, or your defense more so, you're looking at your defense and saying, make CJ Carr throw the ball. If he can throw the ball and he gets his throws on target, then dang it, we can walk off this field with our head held high, knowing, hey, we took away the run game with Jeremiah Love and CJ Carr, and he just beat us with his arm. That's the biggest question mark for me. My question for you regarding A&M, would you rather lean on A&M's running backs or let Reed's dual threat ability carry the offense in this one?
I think you have to start on the ground game. They have a 3-headed monster back there. They have Ruben Owens, who is a 5-star number 1 running back in his class coming out of high school. You have Le'Veon Moss, who is an absolute unit back there. He's one of the best running backs in the country. And you have Marcel Reed, who runs all over the place. He's one of the biggest dual threat quarterbacks in the entire country. But the difference is that Texas A&M doesn't have to rely on the run. They have the weapons on the outside. They have Casey Concepcion from NC State, who is one of the top receivers in the country. And they have a plethora of 5-star receivers who have come in the recruiting classes in the past several years. The difference between the 2 teams is that while I do think that Texas A&M needs to rely on the run, they don't have to. They have the luxury of airing it out if they need to. While Marcel Reed's throwing ability may be a question, he at least has somebody to throw the ball to. Notre Dame does not have the luxury. They have to be able to run the ball, or this game is over before it even starts.
Yeah, they've got to keep Marcel Reed off the field because he can go down the field quickly with that up-tempo offense and score in a matter of 30 seconds to 45 seconds if they have the capability. And I think they do. When you look at the key matchups and intangibles in this game, right? The first thing that I see is both defenses are prone to giving up big plays. The question is, who hits them first? That's the key question for me. And kind of piggybacking off of that, I want to ask you this specific question. Who's the bigger X factor in this game, Rooster? Is it Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame, or is it Casey Concepcion with A&M?
I think this question is it's relatively easy to answer, but I think the bigger X factor you should be asking is it Casey Concepcion, or is it the Notre Dame offensive coordinator who has to give the ball to Jeremiah Love? Jeremiah Love is the best player on the field. This season, when Jeremiah Love steps onto the field, he is going to be the best player in every single game he plays. It's just as simple as that. He is going to be the best player every time he touches the field. But the problem is they don't give him the ball. If you give him the ball, he's going to put up 100 yards every single game. So I think the answer is simple. It's Jeremiah Love is the X factor. The difference is, Concepcion's going to get the ball. You don't know if Jeremiah Love's going to get it.
Yeah. We can't hammer it enough. They have to get Jeremiah Love the ball. If they do not, they lose this game. I think anyone, Notre Dame fans, college football fans, would agree with that. You got to get him the ball. He is your safety net, right? If he gets in there and starts picking up 4.5, 5.5, 6 yards per carry, chances are, when you look at the box score at the end of the game, Notre Dame wins. So,
Nate,
with that,
I have an interesting stat for you really quick.
Yeah,
I was reading earlier today, in the last 3 or 4 years, I believe, every single game that Notre Dame has lost, they've had 28 rushes or less. Every single game they've lost has had 28 rushes or less. And every single game they've won has been 29 rushes or more. You know what that leads back to? Give Jeremiah Love the ball, and I'll send it back to you.
Appreciate that, Rooster. Yeah, I think you make a great point, and I think you make a definitive statement to the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame. Get Jeremiah Love the ball. Period. Point blank. So, with that being said, Rooster, who wins? Irish or Aggies? And do you like the over in this game at 49.5?
Well, the simple answer to the over is absolutely not. This game is going to be smash mouth, in your face football. These drives are going to be 5, 6, 7 minutes. Oh, you see what I did there, Nate? But I think this is going to be a 7.5 minute drive every single time. These drives are going to be so long. I mean, I think each team is going to have 10, 11, 12 play drives. And it's going to be long, grueling, smash mouth football. I'm going to take the under in this game for sure. But to win this game, I'm going to take Texas A&M and shock the world. Because as simple as, I still don't think they're going to give Jeremiah Love the ball. I just don't think they will. I mean, they're playing their biggest game of the year in week 1, and he had the ball twice in the first half. There's nothing that aggravates me more than when you're watching a team and their best player is just not involved. For instance, look at the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. Justin Jefferson didn't have a catch the first 3 quarters. And then miraculously, out of the blue, they put up 21 points when they throw to him. If the best player gets the ball, they win. And I think that Texas A&M is going to be able to limit this because I think they get out, they get a score early. I think they get a score early, and it puts Notre Dame behind the 8 ball from the start of the game. And to be quite honest, again, it's contrary to belief, I don't think CJ Carr looked like a huge world beater quarterback against Miami. They really, outside of one quarter, their offense did not do much at all. And all I've heard about all week is how great CJ Carr looked. And I just didn't see any of that when I was watching the game. So I think that Texas A&M gets a score early. They make Notre Dame get behind the 8 ball, throw the football, and I do not trust a redshirt freshman in his second career start to beat a team at the caliber of Texas A&M. Give me the Aggies to win this one.
Boom. You heard it here first on Break the Huddle from Rooster's Cocky Picks. Yeah, I think if Notre Dame wins this football game, it's because of traits and clutch moments. If A&M wins this game, it's a program-changing, we've arrived moment for Mike Elko. I'm going to agree with you, Rooster. Give me the A&M Aggies in a close one, 31-27 on the road in South Bend. But, yeah, I think this is, this is going to be a great matchup Saturday night on NBC at 7:30 p.m. And this is one that I'm definitely going to tune into for sure. It's going to be Notre Dame versus Texas A&M, revenge, playoff implications, and primetime drama. Drop your score predictions down below in the comments and let us know if you're going to be in South Bend. Let's see if South Bend is the side of the Fighting Irish rebound or an Aggie breakthrough. We'll see you next week. It's time to break the huddle.